Hola Mafetu, hola Buccaneer. How is everybody doing? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Happy People TV, Orlando Pirates fan channel, the Buccaneer brief show. Yes, we give you the updates that are, applicable and, transfer news and rumors. I am your host, KB, and this time I am joined by the technical director of the channel, Mr. Coach. How are you doing, Chief?
Oh, we're live? Nah, I'm kidding, bro. I'm not the brag I'm fit to. I'm the same as I was last week in fit to give me the coach, brag. What's all it?
Waiting for a coach. Aren't you supposed to announce him? You're supposed to be the guy.
The talk I'm fit to.
Yeah.
My birdies ain't tweeting, brother. They ain't telling me nothing.
I ain't telling you nothing. Okay, guys. So we don't have much to get into, but you will be excited to hear that there has been an update in the technical team of Orlando Pirates. No, it is not a brand new head coach, but Mandla Ncikazi, as you can see with the thumbnail, he is to stay at Pirates. First time I saw this, I thought, okay, so he's definitely going to be the assistant. So why don't I go coach? Anyway, but there is a little bit more information on that. Stick around for the Buccaneer brief. And also, Mr. Coach is going to just help us a little bit. I remember yesterday we were doing the Buccaneer brief with Mr. Mafelo, and I read out that the news. We are number one of the South African countries in the International Football Federation. What? It's not FIFA, but it's some other body that I don't believe many of us are familiar with. So Mr. Coach is just going to clarify how that is important and why it actually matters to us as Buccaneer. So without any further ado, we shall go into the Mandla news, and this is how it goes. This is the article right here, and it is by Sokalatuma. They say Pirates' new era to include a familiar face, all too familiar. Orlando Pirates are expected to retain Mandla Ncikazi as part of the technical team setup for the new season. The SIA crew has been reliably informed, and so following the departure of Jose Rivero, Buccaneer, that's right, Orlando Pirates, we ended the season under the guidance of Mandla Ncikazi, who stepped in as interim head coach, and we finished the season unbeaten in the last 4 matches with 3 draws and 1, I think it was a 1-0 win. And so in the process, Pirates continued the trend of giving young talent from the club's Diski TV challenge a taste of first team action, which is a Jose philosophy. And so players like Slepe, Cameron Danson, and Siyabonga Dladla showed promise in their senior setup, and they are expected to be part of the club's long-term plans. I think they named them 3 because I think he gave them game time. He made sure to give them game time. So and then he says, while anticipation grows around the club's official appointment of a new head coach, sources close to the situation have provided insight into Ncikazi's role going forward. And here's a quote. Coach Mandla has served the club well and professionally in the different roles, and for that he is highly valued. Moreover, he has a contract with the club until next year, and he is allowed to stay until then. Part of the plans include him continuing to serve in the technical team for next season. He's been around from 2021, coming from Golden Arrows, and he has played various roles, including co-coaching, assistant coaching, and being an assistant during different technical team regimes. His experience is deep, and understanding of the domestic game have made him a trusted figure with the Pirates technical structure. With preseason around the corner and a new era looming, indications are that Orlando Pirates view continuity and experience as vital components. And that ends the article. I just want to comment on that last line. Continuity and experience are very important. So, Mr. Coach, let's hear validity of this article, these news, and your take on it. Actually,
I'm glad you asked about validity. To me, I speak every day offline, low and Haitswaka Sakala Duma, I take it with a handful of salt. Yeah, I mean, sure, they get a few things right here and there, but I blind them, I mean, I don't take them too seriously, but there could be something to it nonetheless. On whether or not it's a good idea, okay, first of all, before I give my opinion, I am grateful for his contribution thus far and his service to the club. It has not been for nothing. That being said, it's time for us to set a standard of winning, which the same way that I want a head coach that has won something or know what it's like to win, I want his technical team to be closer to that. Harshabali, the whole technical team, okay, I don't know too much about Tyron Davids, but our strength and conditioning coach, Mr. Helmi, comes from a winning background in Africa. Coach Mandla has been with us for 5-6 years now. Has not tasted the league before, doesn't know what it's like, and it did not leave a very good account of himself in the last 4 games where he was head coach. So,
is that how we should judge him, though?
That's the only way it was going to convince me, even though I saw win all along, there's something there. Because he had his co-coach season, the whole season, and obviously he helped Jose a lot. Jose does give him a lot of credit for his time with him, and that is obviously owing to the fact that Coach Mandla is a veteran in the country. He knows the league, he knows the players very well. He's been around the environment. Jose was a new man coming to a new country. He needed that. However, if we are to get a coach that has his own assistant coach, I don't see what Coach Mandla is going to help him with, honestly speaking. If you look, I like to compare myself with Sundowns for a reason. They are the team that have been dominating this country for over a decade now. They had an assistant coach who ended up being the head coach in Coach Manqoba, and he got ousted even though he was leading on the top of the table after Palakuja Carling Cup or in the Carling Knockout Final. So for me, I think we need to start being like very serious about what standard and what we require from our coaches. And for me, Coach Mandla hasn't proven to me he's an elite coach or something like that. So again, grateful for his contribution, but I would personally send him on his way.
Ooh, right now?
Yep.
Something wrong with you, bruv. Listen to that last line. Listen to that last line of these bars over here by Sokalatum. Who tui?
Sure.
With pre-season around the corner and a new era looming, indications are that Pirates view continuity and experience as vital components. So when our Tisatria more or no continuity and experience are not so important.
They especially with the context.
Context again. Yeah, the context is that he's got the South African football experience, and also experience at coaching Pirates. I mean, if I was coming into the job at Pirates as the manager right now, I would need a Mandla to be like, no, that's just Khoza, that's how he is, he speaks like that, kind of thing. And also somebody who has a direct link to the players. I'm also just looking at this with the loss of the experience of Ndate Shabalala. I feel like we need to keep the people who know the club for as long as possible until we have a new setup. So I feel like right now, if you're going to leave, I didn't cry when Gilberto was saying that I want to stay, or things like that. The new people who came, it's fine, do what you need to do. But I think it's important that the people who have been part of this success that we call success, Jose, I feel like we need them more than we know.
Again, Coach Mandla is the experienced and expert at finishing second. That is no longer good enough for me. Period.
Okay, so are we keeping him to finish somewhere?
So the experience that he can lend you, we can lend you and give you is ensuring that you finish second. I am saying that somewhere out there,
Oh, come on.
there
No, no,
should
no,
be
no,
an
no, no, no,
assistant coach who can.
no, 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 no. Since when do we
That's
look
me,
at us?
bro.
Since when do we look at coaches and assistant coaches when it comes to how well a player does, how well a team does? Well, not technical team. We never talk about fitness coach. I mean, I saw one guy at the stadium saying something about the fitness coach, but you're saying that because you would keep Jose, who's an expert at finishing second, but you wouldn't keep Mandla. That's kind of weird. But I don't want to get into an argument. We still have the Big Three podcast that is going to happen later today. So I think let's move on to the second segment of the show. Yesterday we were reading an article about Orlando Pirates being number one in the South African clubs when it comes to a certain ranking that people feel is a little bit what do they call it? Irrelevant, and it has nothing to do with Pirates, and it's a false ranking. Who is this body? Maybe IFFHS.
Okay. Basically, it's the officially recognized body for ranking teams by FIFA. So when FIFA is looking at club rankings, that's actually where they look. The same way. When it comes to credit rating, for example, just to make an analogy, we look at the S&P and Moody's. IFFHS is the Moody's version of this. So they're the ones who rank the clubs based on that criteria, and that's the one that FIFA look to. And just to add a little bit more, why this matters is because
so wait, why don't they? What's the difference between? What's the difference between this and CAF? Like, isn't CAF part of the FIFA setup, Velevel?
They don't rank the players. Yes, they exist, but they don't. They're not the ones who rank the players.
And then when it comes to AFCON, those people who decide who's the best player in Africa, does that body also not rank?
I'm going to start to lie to you. The only thing I know is that this body is the one that's responsible for ranking clubs globally.
Okay, no problem. So I think the part that actually caught me when you were what do you call it, when you were clarifying who are these people and what do they do, especially when I got that comment yesterday to say there's a commenter who felt like
not convinced.
I'm not convinced. I don't know this body. I don't like this body. I don't want to use the words he used, but yeah. So why is it important, or why is it relevant, this body? And us being above Sundowns, what does it mean?
Okay, first of all, relevance. Let's just quickly touch on how the Club World Cup teams are selected, because that's actually where it matters. Currently, the World Cup in Dalang, Africa gets 4 slots. It's going to be the same thing, obviously, in 2029. Africa only gets 4 slots. And how those 4 slots are allocated are, they want the teams that have won the CAF Champions League over that 4-year period. Now, in this context, 2025 Club World Cup, there was only 2 clubs that have won the Champions League in recent time. Was it 3? I'm not quite sure. But it's Niki Al Ahly, Wydad, and if I'm not mistaken, it's Esperanza. If Esperanza I saw Winnie, which they might not have, it goes to the reason I'm about to explain now. So what happens is that when there are less teams that have won the Champions League than there are slots, the next best thing is to go to the highest ranked team. Yeah, in the past 4 years. So, okay, the rankings are done over a 4-year period, really, in general. So, the same way as they select those teams that have won the Champions League in that time period, once that doesn't qualify for the remaining places, then they go to which teams have been the highest ranked team. In this case, Sundowns and Esperanza. Yeah, Esperanza win Champions League. It's Esperanza and Sundowns who are the next best rated teams after Al Ahly and Wydad, who have won the CAF Champions League. So that's how Sundowns are there today. Had not been that case, they wouldn't be there as well. So that's why it's relevant where you get ranked. And how those teams are selected, it's a pool of different things. I mean, how they are ranked in terms of that whole list. A number of factors. It's it's a point system basically. You get points for draws and wins, and they take into account CAF Champions League, they take into account domestic leagues and cups and how you run in the Champions League. However, the biggest weight in determining that ranking is the CAF Champions League. So how you fared in the CAF Champions League. In our context, I get a current ranking right now. Orlando Pirates are ranked 5th on the continent and first out of South African teams.
Yes, sir.
How that came about is the fact that it was judged from June 2024 up until I think May 2025. So in that time period, we have had a better record, like compared to South African teams. We've had a better record in terms of CAF, because if you recall correctly, although to the semi-final before Sundowns, we only lost one match in that whole tournament, which was the final game of the tournament. Whereas Sundowns actually only won 3 games in that very same tournament.
That's very interesting. Again, sorry to cut you off, but that is pretty interesting, because it seems like they are ranking this thing game by game. So even if you draw your way to the title, if you lose in that final, you'll find yourself in Sundowns' shoes. Okay. So okay, no, let me not get into too much Pirates stuff. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so they allocate points for results. If I could be wrong, if I'm not mistaken, for a win you get 3 points, and I think a draw could even be 1. It could be like a league system if you grand. But essentially, your match results do affect your ranking. So obviously, right now the current ranking number 1 club. Okay, now I get the period that matters is from 2025, basically now until the next World Cup, 2029.
Yeah.
Already the team that's guaranteed already to play CAF Champions League football is Pyramids, because we So if for some reason, hypothetically, and no other team wins the Champions League between now and then they rely strictly on the rankings. So that's why the fact that we are already ranked 5th is a positive. It's not end all be all, but it's a good place to start. And if we are to build on that and at least maintain between 5th and 3rd place, then we stand a chance to win the CAF Champions League. To play in the
to get the 363 meter. Yeah. No, bro. I think it's relevant, bro. Hella relevant, especially because to me right now it just adds a heavy dynamic to the actual CAF now, because game by game, whether you're gonna win it or not, I don't think there's going to be 4 different pyramids, 25, 26, 27, 28, and if it's playing June, it means it will. I think there will be 3 more or 4 more winners. I'll just need to double check that. But that's actually pretty exciting, because it means game by game. First of all, you know how we were friends of Pyramids, right? For the final. If Sundowns won that thing, bro, it's something different. So now we can minya from here until the next Club World Cup. And so for me, that is actually pretty dope. Thank you for clarifying that. Bro? Yeah.
One more thing I like that it emphasizes is that Sundowns, in their 260 billion budget between May 2024 and now, according to the numbers, we have still been the better team.
That's a good way to end the show off, Mr. Coach. Please stay tuned in. You guys are seeing on one side of the screen there the Big 3 podcast. We did not do it on the Monday, contrary to what the slideshow says. We are doing it today because in South Africa yesterday it was a Sunday. I don't care what anybody says. Mr. Coach, thank you very much for informing everybody on this here brief. Vandaag, let's get to that Big 3. Buccaneer, please, before you leave, or before we leave you, please do not forget to look for this guy over there. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, notify yourself when the videos come out, and then do not forget to share with the Buccaneer faithful so we can grow the community. Dango!